Hi folks, and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel and lovely Palm Springs, California. We are down here with Chevrolet to check out the entire ZR2 lineup, or ZR2 for our American friends. And right now in this video, we're gonna take a closer look at this monster. This is the all-new 2024 Silverado HD ZR2. This is the first time this truck has ever existed, Dad. Chevy finally decided to jump into this heavy-duty off-road space. ZR2 is well established, but now they've brought it up to their biggest trucks. And yeah, that's why we got to walk around this thing and show the folks all the features.
Yeah, and the truck has existed, don't listen to him, but they've added the ZR2 to it for the first time. That's the point.
Yeah, I thought that's what I said, but maybe not as
No,
clearly.
you didn't.
So why don't you pop the hood, Dad, and let's show them what's under here. Now, when you go for this ZR2, you can get the 6.6 liter gas or the 6.6 liter Duramax diesel, and that's what we have today. So this guy is hooked up to a 10-speed automatic, and the engine makes 470 horsepower and 975 pound-feet of torque. And for 2024, they did update this diesel. Chevy, they didn't go with crazy torque. They didn't try to chase Ford and Ram in the 1,500 or 1,200 pound-feet of torque arena. What GM did is they came out and said 975 is the number we're sticking at, but we're gonna make the power more usable. We're actually gonna bring the torque on in the lower gears. You're gonna get more usable torque, and that's what you want for towing, right?
Absolutely.
So that was the whole thing here. Again, Chevy's not playing in that kind of crazy game with the other manufacturers for power numbers.
Well, frankly, it's unnecessary. I mean, that's just for bragging rights, because this truck will do as much as you need, guaranteed. Nobody is going to say, oh my God, I'm underpowered.
Yeah, that is fair. The other guys just want it because they want a bigger number. So ZR2, you're gonna notice the styling is different right off the bat. You get the unique grille, red tow hooks, of course. Everyone knows red tow hooks make your vehicle better off-road. One little interesting detail, not a flow tie. On all the other ZR2 models, this is actually totally open, so you can stick your finger right through. It's called the flow tie. On this model, they told us that there's some brackets behind this Chevy emblem, so if this wasn't filled in, it would just look bad. So this is an aesthetic thing.
Because there's the camera, and those brackets are holding the camera.
Exactly.
So they couldn't really move that.
Fair enough. And this thing also does have a functional hood scoop, so it's not like it probably needed the airflow.
That's actually a very good hood scoop, because not only does it jam a lot of air in there, but it also separates water and snow if it's getting sucked in.
Yeah, which is extremely important, especially for us back home in Canada, right?
Yep.
So why don't we walk down the side of the truck now and again start going over some more features. This is a huge one right here, literally 35-inch tires, Goodyear Wrangler Territories. Again, in this space, 35s, Ford went there first, and now GM has caught up. 35s are basically the barrier for entry. You need a big tire like this if you want to compete, so it's nice to see that Chevy did that. And then behind the tires, Multimatic DSSV dampers. The important thing there is these are position sensitive, so it will provide different levels of damping depending on how hard you're driving it. But it is a passive system. Again, unlike the competitors that use some semi-active systems, this is totally passive. It is just set it and forget it. It'll do its thing. And those DSSVs, again, they're right across the board. All the ZR2s use those Multimatic shocks. So again, as we roll back, a couple other little features I'll show you. We do have a powered running board on this truck, is nice. And while I'm right here, we might as well look at the best sticker in the industry. It's right down here. It tells us our trailering information for this specific truck. So max payload here, 2,929 pounds. Conventional tow rating, 18,500 pounds. 18.1 off of the gooseneck. Yeah, those are pretty good numbers. And we talked to Chevy, we talked to some of the engineers, and I think when they approached this truck, they thought that towing and payload had to be number one still. Obviously, the truck is built to go off-road, but they didn't want to compromise the towing and payload numbers that much. And that's one of the answers I got when I said, why doesn't it have a front locker? This is the only truck where the differential in the front is just open, unlike the Ram Power Wagon with the locker or the Tremor with a limited slip. It's just an open diff. And their answer was exactly that, payload. We didn't think it was worth it to add the weight of a locker, a bigger differential. We wanted to keep the payload high. So I think you have to keep that in mind as you look at this truck. It is an off-roader, but it's not an off-roader first. It's still towing and hauling first, with some more off-road chops added into it, right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And again, usage case. What have we got hooked up here today? Well, this is a toy hauler
Yeah.
travel trailer. And this is typically what's going to happen with somebody who has this truck, has their ATVs or dirt bikes in the back of this thing and wants to get into a remote location. So you've
Precisely.
got the ZR2 because you know that's going to manage. If anything, you'll probably shake the trailer apart before you ever have a problem with this truck. But, you know, this is for the guy that uses this thing Monday to Friday for work.
Yeah.
And then he goes out and plays on the weekend. Okay, so now you have that extra capability.
Sure.
So I think they tried to find that right balance.
Yeah, I agree. And again, looking at the competitors, I think Ford was very similar with the Tremor package. Ram is not similar. Ram totally gave up towing and payload in favor of off-road for the Power Wagon. So if you really love a big off-road truck, the Power Wagon might still be your best choice. But if you want towing and payload, yeah, you cannot go to that truck. You got to come to one of these. So what else as we roll to the back end? You do get those new bedside steps, Dad, this year, which are kind of nice. And of course, we still have the classic Chevy bumper step back here, which is quite handy for getting back up into your bed. And I did already mention there's no front locker, but now that we're at the back, I do have to tell you, there is a rear e-locker in this truck. So you do have a rear locker, and frankly, that's probably enough for 90% of off-road situations, right?
Also, the multi-flex tailgate has made it onto the heavy duty, so you can order that. And
That
if
is
you,
nice.
You're going to have to watch when you open that with the
Yeah.
trailer hooked up.
Absolutely. But you know what? With the trailer, having this little half gate here, it does give you actually better access because I wouldn't be able to open this. So with the trailer on, this actually has some kind of unique usages too. And recently, we towed a fifth wheel with one of these trucks. And when the fifth wheel travel trailer's hooked up, again, you can barely open your tailgate, but when you flip this down, you have access into your light connections and your chains. So again, this actually has some pretty cool usages when you're towing as well.
Yeah, it's a slick design, without a doubt.
It is smart. A little more on the trailer we have here today. As Dad mentioned, it's a toy hauler. The dry weight on this unit right here is about 7,000 pounds. GVWR is 10,000 pounds, so if this thing was fully loaded, it would get up to 10. Frankly, not a huge challenge for the truck today, and I will also point out, and we didn't set it up, no equalizing hitch over there, which frankly makes it a tougher test for the truck. And if you want to see that test, you're not going to get it in this video. You have to come back to the channel next week because right now we can only share all of the information on the truck. We can't share our driving impressions with you just yet. They are embargoed. So next Wednesday, we're going to drop more reviews, towing this thing, going off-road. So please come back and watch those videos to actually see our thoughts on how this truck pulled this trailer. But for now, let's just finish the walk around because there's some more features we haven't got to. And why don't we take a look inside this thing now and I can show you a little bit on the interior. So when you go for the ZR2, you do get a bit of unique content on the interior as well. Things like the yellow stitching here in the dash, and it's on the seats. You do get unique sill plates you can see down there on the floor just beside the door that let you know that this is a ZR2. They try to remind you a couple areas inside the truck that it's a little different. And yet on the flip side, a lot of it is just the same as the other luxury trucks in the lineup, and that's not a bad thing, right, Dad? I mean, it's nice. There's lots of nice materials. This cool, I don't know, kind of fake carbon fiber looking stuff. This has become very common in trucks now and most interiors. A lot of different materials which really come together to create a nice overall experience. Not to mention a massive touchscreen over here in the center stack, a fully digital gauge cluster up here in front of me. I have a head-up display. I have a rear camera mirror, which is entirely useless with that trailer on, but that's a different story. So yeah, all the technology you could ever want. They didn't come to ZR2 and think, let's make that a base truck that goes off-road. They thought, let's make that a luxury truck that goes off-road, and that's pretty much what it feels like in here.
Yep, absolutely, and you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, you're right about that as well. Now, when it comes to the off-road driving modes, they didn't go quite as far with this truck as they did with Silverado and Colorado. Here we get off-road mode, but we don't get things like Baja mode and we don't get terrain mode, the one-pedal drive. So again, like with the front locker, there was also certain technological off-road advances that they just didn't think would probably fit that well up here in the big truck.
That's half of it, and the other half of it is that, again, they decided that the 2500 HD owner probably didn't need those things, so why add it to the cost?
Yeah, and you're right, and it does come down to the cost as well. And you know what, right now we might as well throw that up on screen for you right here so you can see what this truck is worth. Well, folks, we are coming to the end of this one now. I will just say one more time, if you want to see us driving this thing in the desert, going off-road, hitting massive rocks, towing that trailer, please come back to the channel next week, as those videos will be coming online soon. But for now, Dad, I think the verdict is simple. It's something we say a lot. More choice is good. We have another new choice in the heavy-duty off-road segment, and that's a good thing. It's hard to complain about that. Again, a bit of a different strategy here than its competitors too, so you do have some unique things that might drive you towards the Chevy.
Yep, absolutely, but everybody has got a different usage case, and this is just one more tool in the toolbox.
Yeah, fair enough. Plus, it's a pretty handsome looking truck. It has grown on me. I didn't love the styling. I know it's a little controversial, but I'm good with it now.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Cool. So yeah, folks, like I said, we're coming to the end of this one. Of course, we need to hear from you now. So go into the comments. Let us know what you think about this HD ZR2. While you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a Truck King member, and then come right back here to the channel to see what we're testing next. See ya.
Thanks.
Thank you.